don't know, it's really hard to explain because it's fuzzy because of the alpaca. So it's almost like you're holding like a lace weight with it. Anyway, I'm very excited. It's very fun yarn. It's been lovely to work with. Hello everyone and welcome back to the DoSo Knits YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen and I'm a knitter and military spouse living in Germany with my family. This is my channel where I just share with you how knitting has interwoven into my life. Today's video is episode 16 of the DoSo Knits podcast, where I share with you what I've been working on, things that I have finished, things I might be starting in the near future, and all kind of stuff like that. If you'd like to find me other places, I am DoSo Knits here on YouTube, Instagram, and Ravelry. In Ravelry, we also have a group for this podcast, so you can go in there. I post the show notes, which links to my website, dosoknits.com. And if you'd ever like to ask me a question that you'd like to see me answer on the podcast, there is a thread over there as well called Ask a Question, and I may answer it on a future podcast episode. I also post a lot on my Instagram between podcast episodes. I like to record these every 2 weeks, and then I like to share with you guys a little bit more on my Instagram in the time between. So all those links to where you can find me is all found in the description box down below, along with the link to the website, dosoknits.com, where you can find the show notes. And that links to everything you might need, the patterns, yarns, needles, anything and everything should be linked over there. It's a nice one-stop shop to reference everything. Also down below I have timestamps, so if you ever need to go back and you want to hear specifically about a certain project again, or the yarns I use, I try to do the timestamps down below. That way you can reference things quickly. So I don't know if you can hear, but there is construction work going on in our house. They are like removing tiles from the garage. And yeah, over the past 2 weeks we've had a lot of construction on our house. Our landlords wanted to replace the 2 windows upstairs with some ones that have electrical blinds. There's roll-it-ins in Germany. They're blinds that go up and down and they can essentially block out all the light. And they wanted electrical ones put in, which we were like, this is your house, absolutely, that's fine. We do not mind. Shannon and I have been off the past week, and looking back, I probably would have wanted to be at work for this because they replaced the windows, which was no big deal. Took them about a day. But they also removed, we had wood paneling on like the upper portion of our house. There's like the little triangle, like where the roof is, and then this whole triangle had wood paneling, and that's where the windows were as well. And they decided they were going to remove the wood paneling, which, I mean, honestly, probably needed to be removed. So we have scaffolding on the side of our house, and they had to remove them, and that was loud. And then they put in and had to like re-scrape everything off, got the wood panels off, and then they had to put insulation up and put some new plaster. And it's just been a little loud because it's all against this wall over here, and that wall over there is the wall to the couch in the living room, and the other wall upstairs is our bedroom wall. Not that they're doing construction during when we're in bed, but it's just like a constant kind of like hammering sound, and it's just kind of loud. It kind of gives you a headache. It's okay. He said Monday it should be done. Today is Saturday. I hope. I hope. I think the saddest part about it is we've had to keep all of the windows on this side of the house closed completely, like no light in at all. And our house doesn't have many windows because we have 3 sides, because the 4th side over here is connected to our neighbors. It's technically a duplex, but it's essentially a whole house. So the windows are on this side of the house. The sun rises over there. The sun sets out of these windows. So then all of our light comes from the windows on that wall. And so it's just been very hard to let light into the house, and I'm sure my plants are feeling it. So I hope we can open them on Monday. And then like today, I used that window over there to let in a little extra light for recording these. So needless to say, I'm just ready to use my new blinds that are electrical because I haven't been able to. Other things that have happened over the last 2 weeks, I have been off work. I've done a lot of teleworking. I did some video editing for work, but I wasn't technically at work. I had originally taken the time off initially to be home with Shane because he's come back from work. But I wanted to edit these videos as like a side project for work, so I was able to get a couple hours in doing that at home. It was nice because it was quite a big project, and I much prefer doing a little bit each day than having to come home and do that after normal work hours. I probably would have not had fun. So that was that. I also, this past week, I made a type of unboxing video for you guys. It was kind of a day in the life, but mostly an unboxing. I unboxed my Cozy Comfort Hoga box from a Homespun house, and I tried a different video style with it, so I hope you guys liked it. Shane thought I sounded weird, but that's okay. I appreciate the comments saying it was very calming because that was the mood I was going for. So if you haven't seen it, I will link it up above and say check it out. I'm very proud of the video because I was definitely trying to go for a different style, and I think it worked out. So just let me know what you guys think. And then the other new things that have really happened are Shane and I went on a hike yesterday. It was supposed to be really nice. It was really nice. So I found a hike. It was a 9.4 kilometer hike. It was really excellent. We took a bunch of photos. There were some really cool instances in there. There were some rock formations that were like completely, they called them hulas, which essentially I think means hole. And they were just like giant cave type things cut out in these giant slabs of rock. It's very cool. There was some overlooks to hang out on and tons of benches, which is very nice. You don't realize how much a bench can mean on a hike until you do a hike that doesn't have benches and you just want to sit for a second or you want to eat. There was also a really nice table that we were able to eat food at. And overall, it was a very good hike. At the end, there was this portion, we continued following the trail because it was a loop. And like the last segment, like we come down and then we had a straight shot to get back to the car. And that last segment was closed. And we had just gone on a hill and some German man told us like, hey, it's closed 200 meters up ahead. And we were like, great. So I was able to look on the app and we had to backtrack, but it was a very easy backtrack essentially to walk back to the car. It was another straight shot, but we had to backtrack the hill we just walked down, and both of us were not mentally prepared to have to turn around and climb back up the hill because we were ready to just take a straight shot forward. But it's okay, we did it, we survived. Definitely by the time at the end we were tired, and it was definitely our max, and my legs hurt a lot today. So I'll probably do some yoga to help with that. Other than that, I've also gotten a new phone, which is what I'm recording on, so we will see how that goes today. Quite excited with that. It's supposed to have a lot better camera, so hopefully I can step up my photo and video game just a little bit. And then the only other new thing is Shane and I have really gotten into F1. We watched the series on Netflix and found it very interesting, the whole dynamics of Formula One and racing and the racers and the dynamics of the teams and the costs and everything. It's very interesting, and the races are very fun to watch. And so the first race of the season is tomorrow. So we will be watching that. Today is qualifying to see where the lineup is, and tomorrow is the race. So I'm excited about that. It's nice. I think it's a simple sport to get into because there's only 20 drivers total. There's only 10 teams, 20 drivers, and it's like 23 races a year. This year's 23, normally it's 21 days. Yeah, that is what's been happening in my life the past 2 weeks. And let's go ahead and we can get started on some knitting. Today I am drinking a Bird and Blend tea. This is called Chocolate Digestives, which is like a cookie. So it's black tea with some chocolate notes and it's quite lovely. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into some knitting. So I don't have a ton of finished objects for you guys this week. I had 4 last episode though, so I feel like I'm doing okay. Yeah. So the first finished object for this week are my London socks by Mina Phillips. And I'll show you the yarn I was using. I'm knitting these with Desert Vista Dye Works in the Holiday Wreath color. This is her Viso base. So 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, and it was a self-striping yarn of red, like a light blue and a white. And this project is living in my Join the Stitches quilted project bag. I absolutely love this bag, especially for pattern socks because it can hold all of everything I need. And my cat is very good at getting her fur over everything. So there's always a touch of ebony with every project bag. So there's those. I knit them on my Addie Crazy Trio. So this is what they look like when you're not knitting with them. And these are my finished socks. Are the ends woven in? No. Is that okay? Yes, because I will do that today along with the blocking. So I'll give you a nice close-up. Last week, this little progress keeper from the Corner of Craft is where I was. And so I have finished both the socks. For the socks, it is a 2x2 rib up top, and then it is 2 charts on the, I did 2 charts for the leg, and then I did 2 charts for the foot, and then a nice round toe, which is my favorite. I also did the modified heel flap adjustment, which right here, I was just able to do, I did 8 rounds of back and forth, and then did my German short row heel, and you pick up and decrease like a gusset, like you would on heel flap and gusset socks. And I did try these on, and I think they fit phenomenally. I just have to tie in my ends because I've been quite lazy. I do want to also, my stitches here are just a little loose, so I think I'll go in and tighten those up a little bit. I think that when I do this in the future, I might garter like the first couple of stitches on the heel flap adjustment, because I think you're supposed to garter the first one, but I feel like it makes it just a little loose, or maybe that was the one that I didn't do it on. But either way, I think doing garter for a couple stitches, especially on a heel flap, kind of tightens it up a bit. So I'll try that on these. But overall, I'm very excited about these. I think they look really nice, and a nice knit and purl pattern socks are good socks to, if you've not done pattern socks before, it makes it very easy, and I think it does a cool texture, and it kind of does a ribbing, so it kind of cinches in and it'll fit your foot nicely. So yeah, and London socks. So those are technically my only finished objects from last episode to show you guys, but I have also finished a couple of dishcloths. And are the ends woven in on these? The answer is no. So we have a theme. So this one is just a nice garter stitch dishcloth. I do knit front backs to do the increases. I don't know what I decrease to. I think it's like 33 or 36. I do it like enough to cover my palm because I have small hands, and going up to like 45, like a lot of patterns call for, is too much for my hands. And then I just decrease down. So this is a nice knit dishcloth. I have no idea what yarn this is because it's some leftover cotton from a long time ago. It's some type of sugars and cream cotton. And then I also did another diagonal dishcloth, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. This is crochet. I used a 4mm hook because the 5mm hook, which it calls for, is a little loose. I think I'm just a loose crocheter as well as a knitter, but we've been using these as washcloths when we take a shower, and I've really liked how they work. They seem to last nicely. They don't stretch too much, and there's a nice, because you go through the back loop, it kind of does a nice thicker texture. And yeah, I'm trying to get through my stash. Plus I like that a crocheted dishcloth works out just a little bit faster than a knit one. So yeah, I've done a couple of those. I really like these diagonal dishcloths. I think these definitely my go-to for dishcloth patterns. I don't mind the knit ones, but I like how these work up just a little bit faster, and they're a little thicker and plumper overall. So yes, I finished those as well. I usually work on those when we cook dinner. We do HelloFresh meals, and so when Shane will cook, I will read the instructions to him, and then I can sit there and work on it, and we can talk while he's cooking. And that's usually when I work on those. I have a basket on the table to pull those out, and they're just nice to be able to pick up, put down, do it just while we're cooking dinner, and then it's good to go. The first whip this week is living in my Mountain State Stitches bag. It is a perfect bag for this project, and I love these little bees. It's going to be great as spring is slowly thinking about coming. So this is my Coast Along shawl, and this is by Samantha Guren, and I will show you where I am. So this is my Coast Along shawl so far. So last week I was here where this little avocado stitch marker is, and I have done a good amount, I think. So you can see there's a nice lace detail with your contrast color, and then there's a nice slip stitch feature going up the entire shawl. And so the yarns I'm using, this main color is a Merino Singles from Life in the Long Grass. It is Cactus Moon Soil. And then my contrast color is Stress Knit's Favorite in the colorway Ophelia. And so this is the Merino Single. It's 100% superwash merino, and it's a single ply. And then the Stress Knit's Ophelia, it's on her favorite base, so it's a white with some green and brown, yellow speckles throughout. Sometimes there's a pop of a pink or a blue, which is always really fun. And I'm pretty sure that makeup is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. And overall, I've really been enjoying this pattern. It does take a little bit of brain power when you are doing the lace sections, but honestly not that much. And these little bobble rows are also a very easy thing to do, easy to implement. I don't know. They're fun, and it's a nice little detail. And the garter rows, like sections like this, are definitely very easy. Good TV knitting, just as long as you remember to increase on your ends when you get to them, which a couple of times when I was at the beginning I was forgetting, but since then I've been doing okay. I've also been using a Lifeline because for the first couple lace sections my numbers were getting off. I don't know what was happening, and then I was able to figure it out because the lace is like a knit two together, yarn over, things like that, or where you knit, like you decrease 2, add 1, decrease 2, add 1, decrease 2, add 1. And right before you got to the center marker, I was just decreasing 2, doing the center marker and going on. But you're supposed to, the repeat was decrease 2, then add 1, and then do the center stitch, and then etc. So I was forgetting to add 1 after decreasing. So I wanted to include the Lifeline, so if I messed up too much, I could rip back and not have too many flaws, because once you start increasing stitch count, ripping back is not fun, and plus when I rip back it just really disheartens me. So every time I finish a lace section, which I have just done here actually, I will move my lifeline up just to make sure that everything is hunky-dory, and that way if I mess up, which I don't think I will, I won't hate myself, because I'm a little scared. But I'd rather be safe than sorry, and look at how pretty this is. Oh my gosh. Wow. I think it's just so perfect. Like when you look at it, it's so simple. This like V pattern, but oh man. I'm so excited to wear this during the summer. Yay! And so I think I have a couple more, I think I have to do 2 more sections just like this of the repeat, and then I will be at my max stitch count, and then I will be just coasting to the end at the same stitch count. And I'm very excited because the stitch count is nothing like the slip extravaganza one. So I'm very excited. I will move my stitch marker up so that I can keep track for next time. And yes, I'm very excited. So the little silver stitch markers on here, you may be wondering what they're for. These are just, I would place one at the beginning of the day, and then that way I could see how much progress I made that day. Because my last stitch marker was all the way down here, and when you're all the way up here, I was feeling a little unmotivated because it's hard to see how much you've actually done. So it's nice to just use some of these to kind of motivate yourself, and it's kind of fun to see. For this day I did from here to here, like a good couple rows, and then this day I did only like 3 rows total, and then I had a good day there, and then this is what I've done today. So I think it's fun. It's just an easy way to kind of motivate myself. I definitely like the process of knitting, but I'm also definitely a product and progress knitter. I like to see the finished object. I like to see that I'm making progress and the finished object at the end. That is my goals. So yes, that is my Coziest long shawl. I think that is going to become my morning knitting because it requires a little bit of focus. I don't like carrying it around too often, but it's not so much focus in the morning that I can't do it before I have my morning tea. Alrighty. The next thing I am working on is my Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague. And I feel like I've made a good amount of progress on this. I am knitting this on 3mm needles, and this is how far I am. So I explained it a little more in the last episode. So this is like a double layer hat. So essentially you have the top, and from here to here is probably the length of your initial hat, and then I will knit that again so then it will fold in on itself. And I'm knitting this out of Chromatic Yarns Sturdy Sock in the colorway Pop Pop. It was one of her Mystery Club Knitable Roll colorways. This was a color that Shane picked out because this is a hat for him. He actually asked me yesterday, when is my hat going to be done? And I told him, I was like, look how long it is. I've been working on it. This has been great for when I'm editing videos or car knitting because you can just go around and round and round. And I really don't need too much focus on it. But he was saying normally hats you like do it like really quickly. Because I normally knit hats like a worsted weight or DK, and normally you can knock those out pretty quickly. And I was like, well, this one's a little smaller, it takes a little bit longer. But I feel like I've made a lot of progress. I think last time when I showed it to you, it was probably about here. I forgot to put in a stitch marker. But yeah, there's not a lot to say about it. I really enjoyed it. My gauge is all over the place when I look at it. You can definitely tell when Sometimes my stitches are a lot looser and sometimes they are not, but I think it will all block out in the end. And I'm using the Addy, here they're called Addy Novels. In the US they are called Addy Turbo Squared. It's weird how they change the names. So I'm using square knitting needles. And I've liked them so far. The 16-inch, no complaints, really enjoyed it. And aren't these like little pops of, like, look at this little, do you see it? Where'd it go? It's like little neon pop of green. This is very fun. This colorway, I think it's going to be a really nice hat for him. And I'm knitting the adult medium. Overall, I think that's it. We'll see how far I get this week. This will probably be a good knitting for when we're watching the race tomorrow. And this is living in a project bag I made myself. Nothing fancy at all about this bag, although I do really enjoy it. I'm very excited to show you my next work in progress. So this is we'll say this is the Daily by Andrea Mowry, although this pattern she initially wrote for bulky sized yarn. I've modified the pattern and I am using sport weight yarn. So for this pattern I did a swatch and I was inspired by a sweater in my local yarn store, which is actually where I got this yarn. I bought this yarn because I saw this sweater, and I'll try to post a photo on the screen. And I love this sweater, but the pattern in German, it was free. It was also kind of weird, and it was knit in separate pieces, and I wasn't absolutely sure on the fit. So I found this pattern by Andrea Mowry, and so I'm kind of using it as a framework for this sweater. So it is going to be a nice striped sweater, and I will show you my swatch. So what I did is I swatched, I blocked my swatch, I measured my gauge, and so this is my swatch. It is on 4mm needles, or I used US 4. I think it's 4mm needles, yeah. 4mm needles, so those are my 4 yarn overs for that. And so even holding it here, you can kind of see where it's not completely opaque, kind of like my shirt, but it's a nice kind of see-through, breathable, because this is going to be like a nice spring, summer, autumn type long sleeve top to throw over things. So you can kind of see my fingers through it. So I knit it, measured my swatch, and so I have, oh, what was it? It was between 19.5 to 20 stitches per inch. It's closer to the 20 stitches per inch. I measured over multiple places, and then I went upstairs, found a shirt that I wear very often. I've worn it on a lot of podcasts. It's a top from Old Navy, and that shirt is 44 circumference, and then there was another one that was 45. So overall, I am roughly going to do a circumference of, I think I stuck to the closer to 45, which is close to the recommended ease that the pattern recommends because it's a drop shoulder sweater. And I measured a drop shoulder as well. And so that is from my upper bust, which is 39 and a half. So it's roughly 5.5 to 6 inches bigger than this, and I think it should fit nicely. The stitch count I am using is between the size 6 and the size 7 for her pattern. The only time I think that's going to change a lot is when I try to figure out the shoulder shaping, and I believe in myself for that. Her pattern also calls for a crew neckline, and I might be changing it to a closer to a scoop, kind of like this, or I might keep the crew, because I had done a Vogue Knitting live class about necklines and how to change them and figure them out for bottom-up sweaters, so I may be trying that as well. And then for the stripes, when I change colors, I'm going to try to add a little stitch detail that was on the sweater from the yarn store. So I've talked a lot about it and not shown you anything. So this is my swatch. This is the main color that I'm using. So this is the yarn. And I did share this a bit on my day in the life unboxing video vlog. Whoa, please don't fall. So this is the yarn. It's from Lena Grossa. It is Eco Puno. Close. So it is a combination of 72% cotton, 17% merino, and then 11% alpaca, baby alpaca. So the baby alpaca is what's giving it this nice like kind of halo effect. And it's also warm from the merino, but it's mostly cotton, but it does not feel like a cotton at all. So it kind of feels like a, I don't know, it's really hard to explain because it's fuzzy because of the alpaca. So it's almost like you're holding like a lace weight with it. Anyway, I'm very excited. It's very fun yarn. It's been lovely to work with. The stitch count I'm using is between the size 6 and 7, but the overall size should be closer to like, I think the size 3. It'll be 46 inches roughly. So I've also modified it to I want to do a high-low hem. So this is going to be my back hem, and then this is how far I have gotten on my front ribbing. And then, yes, I was so lazy that I did not even put this on a separate needle because I was like, they're all gonna fit here. This is gonna be my ending cable. So knit this separate, cut it, started this one, and then once this is to the length that I would like, I will be joining in the round. So this is what it looks like right now. So this is roughly 3.75, and I think this is going to be 2.5. Yeah, overall, and then this is my main color, and then I will be striping it with this blue. So the colors are, I cannot find the color name for this. It's like colorway 42. Yeah. So this gray, which is kind of like a grayish blue, is number 56, and then the blue is number 42, and it is the colorway blue. But I could not find the colorway name for this gray color. But overall, I'm very excited about this sweater. I'm excited to make a sweater that is going to fit. I'm excited. It is going to fit, and this yarn it's a weird combination, but it works. And so for 50 grams, you get 215 meters. They say it's a sport weight. It's almost a fingering. It's pretty close. But with the alpaca, I think it fills in some of the gaps. And yeah, I'm excited to work on this. I'm excited to show you guys this sweater because I think it's going to fit nicely. It's hard to tell because the ribbing kind of cinches in, but yeah, it's going to be a pretty sweater. I'm very excited as I look at it. This has been what's calling me a lot lately. And yes, the weekender is still going to be redone, but ripping it out takes a little brain power. And yay! Okay, yeah, I'm excited. And I think I get see-through, but it's not see-through. Like in the light, you can kind of see how it is, but because you can kind of see where the short ribbing is, but you also like can't like see my face through it. So I think it'll be a nice throw-on sweater over things. Very excited about this. So Lena Grossa Eco Puno yarn. And it's very cost effective, I think. Like 50 grams, 250 meters. It's pretty long. And yeah, I'm using my Chowgu interchangeables for those. Have all my little notions in my little, these are little bags from 31. They work well for notions. And then all of that is in my bearded pearl canvas sweater bag that Sherlock decided he likes to chew on. So it's a little crinkled. Not too bad though. So yes, that is that work in progress. And the next work in progress I have is not very far. I just started it last night. So this is a test knit pattern for Hookah Canyon. I am doing her Sunnyside drive socks, and I'm test knitting the pattern for her along with some other people. I'm very excited to test this. I always love testing Hookah Canyon's patterns. So with this, I am using this is Lana Grossa Million Velt Tweed, and it is the colorway Blue Gray. And so it's nice because it has these little tweedy pops in it. So like I was saying, I've knit another pair of socks with this tweed before, and they're always warm, very easy, nice go-to socks. So I'm excited to be using this yarn again. I've not done too much with these. I'm using my Sock Wonders US size 0, and I have done essentially the cuff. And then there's a cable pattern as well. I've only done a few repeats of those. You can't even really tell what it is yet. But these will be coming to you very soon. I should have a sock done by the next episode, for sure. So, not a lot to show, but something to look forward to. And then the last thing I wanted to show is kind of a splurge, but I've not shown you guys this before on the podcast. So I started this a while ago. It is my Cozy Memories blanket. So Cozy Memories blanket is essentially a metered square blanket. And so this is what I work on kind of off and on Sundays. And I wanted to show you what I've done. So this is what I've done so far. It is a nice size. So I've used all my fingering weight scraps. I started this in 2020, so it has all my scraps from 2020 and will have everything going onward. When I finish a project that uses a fingering weight yarn, I usually throw it in this bag, which is another bag from 31. This is great for this. So all my scraps from fingering weight projects go in here. And then I've been trying to add them in order. I'm very close to finally catching up. Because I started this after finishing a bunch of things, and I was like, I actually want to start that. So I've been trying to catch up for a while. I only have a few more skeins to catch up, and then I can add them in on Sundays as I go, like as I finish something. And I think it's really fun. I think it's really cute, and it's a good size so far. I'm using a 3.5mm needle for these. And I actually need to get a new needle because the needle I was using was a bamboo and the one needle head chipped and it's very annoying. So I need to order a new 3.5mm to work on this with. And yeah, like I said, it's usually what I work on Sundays. Each square takes me about 40-ish minutes. I did 40 stitches for each one, and so 20 per side, and I think they're a good size. So I just wanted to share it with you guys because I've not shared it on the podcast before, and I think it's quite fun. Right now it's a good, it's an ebony sized thing. And yeah, I think it's just fun. It's kind of interesting to see how my color preferences have changed and these random things like this yellow that I dyed, and I don't know. There's definitely a consistent throughout this top stripe that is very, like, I have a theme, and then these other ones are kind of, there's a lot of blue, which is interesting, and then like a random pink. So yeah, that is that. You'll probably see it occasionally, not too often. I don't want to show you every time I finish a square because you'll be like, I get it. It's another square. It's a square out of the yarn that you just used in that other project. So want to keep it nice and consistent. And with that, that is all the projects I brought to share with you today. There's a lot. I hope you enjoyed. If you did like this video, make sure you give me a nice thumbs up, and if you want, you can hit subscribe with the notification bell. That'll let you know whenever I post a new video, and it really helps support the channel, and it's free for you and helps tell YouTube that you like the content, and they can hopefully share it with some other people so we can grow our little DoSo Knits community. With that, I just want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Really, all the comments and everything you guys leave on every video really makes my heart sing. I read them, they make me smile. I love replying to them, and I feel like we are making connections virtually with each other, and we are building a community and just being able to connect and share with each other, and I think it's so much fun. With that, I will be posting another video next week. It will be our stash in and out for March. You can see all the yarn that I brought in this month, and then if you'd like to participate on Instagram, I'll be sharing a little thing in my stories for you guys to interact with as well. Until then, I hope you are knitting a little bit of love into every stitch, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye! Alright, Ebony. This construction work is really annoying. It hurts my head. Okay, my phone decided 36 minutes is too long. I had to restart that.